We'll now move on to item 7. Now, before we start on this, this is only to note there is nothing more we can do. We can't change what has happened, but I felt that it ought to come back to OSB. So as I say, it's only for note. Nothing can be changed. Over to you, Councillor Keane.
Right, good evening everyone.
I'll just, Chair.
Hello.
Sorry, Chair. I was just wondering whether there was going to be some declaration, because this is about the airport.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, I'm with you.
Declaration of interest.
Yeah, Councillor Javeri here. Thank you for that, Chair. Yeah, just want to declare my interest, but appreciate the Chair saying at the outset this is just a note and nothing to be voted on or any major discussion.
No, it's not a major discussion.
Thank you.
It's just an update of what happened.
Yeah,
that OSB should know about.
Yeah, thank you.
Likewise, Chair and Eunice, may I declare my interest too? And obviously I'm here to note and hear, but not to comment on item 7.
Sorry, is that Councillor Salim?
T. Salim, that's right.
Tisa, thank you.
Thank you.
And me too, Amy Nichols.
Yeah, again, all they come together.
Are we still okay to observe though?
It's just notes anyway, so I don't think, yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Sorry, over to you, Councillor King. Sorry about
Being taken up, isn't it?
I think we're playing cricket.
Don't talk to me about cricket. Right, good evening everyone. I shan't keep you long. This is basically to tell you that the task and finish report went to the executive. I felt they didn't treat it with as much seriousness as they should have done. There was no discussion on anything. It was all led by Tom Shaw, who had picked out bits and pieces that he liked, and everybody just agreed with him. That's really all I can really say about it. I was very disappointed with the attitude of the executive. Work that our group had put in, and that with some considerable taking of information in as well. It was quite heavy in some places. The committee, as far as I'm concerned, worked hard and tirelessly. The schools that came and gave their reports, I think, were excellent, and I was very impressed with them, and I think we all were impressed with them. I think really that's it. There is the report there which I hope the Climate Committee will actually look at and take into account a lot of what was put in there. The only other thing I can say is our remit was just purely and simply to look at traffic around the airport. For some unknown reason, the executive couldn't take this in, and they were constantly on about pollution throughout the town. And I did make the point numerous times that our remit was just purely and simply around and at the airport. As Anna has said, we can't do anything about it. We just hope that the 4 suggestions that they're taking into account, they will implement. And my one time of speaking to the executive, I can only say that Hazel Simmons allowed me to talk, allowed me to answer Councillor Shaw, which is difficult in the best of times. I can only say thanks very much to Eunice for all the work she did, and to the members of the committee. And that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Councillor Franks, you want?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Anna. I think the first thing is to say thank you to Terry for that feedback. As a general principle, I really think that whenever a scrutiny body, not just this one, but finance, the children's group or whatever, health and social care, whenever a scrutiny body sends a reference to the executive or to a regulatory committee or to an officer or whatever, I do think that that scrutiny body should get some feedback on the reaction that what they received. I just think as a matter of courtesy, in fact, I had half a feeling there was a provision in the Constitution that said that that should happen. And I haven't had time to go through the Constitution looking for it, but I'm going to. But there should always be feedback. And I thank Terry for giving that.
If it isn't in the Constitution, what I suggest we do when we refer something to any other officer or the exec, whatever, we actually put a sentence in to say that we would like to have some feedback on the proposal. So that if it's not in the Constitution, that might be one way around it.
Chair, if I may, please.
Yes, certainly.
In a way, we do give feedback. It may not be a formal feedback from with regards to references to exec, but at every meeting we do include that sort of information in your chair's feedback. So when you relay back to the committee, your chair's information is always fed through that medium and that process.
Thank you, Eunice. Councillor Nichols, you wanted to make a comment?
Strange to have none of their photographs
No,
up now.
sorry.
Don't know why.
Did decorations earlier.
That's okay.
I haven't touched the
Councillor
photographs. They've
Salim,
just
you
disappeared.
wanted to make a comment?
Yes, thank you. I think it's unfair to criticise an officer by name. I think Tom Shaw has been criticised here by Terry, and it's unfair because he's not here to give an opportunity to defend or to answer. So I just want to make a note that I think it's actually unfair of us to name individuals with criticisms when they're not in the immediate position to give a response. So I think whereas general criticism should and to single out individuals, I think that's not really a positive thing, and it's not very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor, you wanted to make a comment?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I wasn't at the executive when this was presented to them. I can only ask if they accepted the report. If they accepted the report, do they realise that the many hours of work that we put into it? When I came into it late last year or early last year, and we took lots and lots of evidence, and I think this was the motivation was for the airport expansion, which seems a pretty distant dream by now. But I think that all our recommendations are perfectly valid. We took a lot of evidence from people, and I was pretty happy that the members of the public took part. So I think to try for the accuse the executive of dismissing it, I think it's a bit unfair. If they accepted the report, then they've also accepted responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Peter, comment?
Yeah, my comment is there's nothing wrong at all with criticising Tom Shaw. He's not an officer, he's a councillor with responsibilities. And if he was that interested, he might come to scrutiny more often to see what we're discussing when it's been passed back to us. So it's absolutely valid to criticise a councillor, but not an officer. He isn't an officer.
Chair, could I respond to Dave Taylor's question?
Yes, that did.
The executive actually didn't accept the report. They accepted 4 of the many recommendations and effectively dismissed the others.
Yeah.
Can I respond to that, Chair?
Yes, definitely.
I think if they didn't accept all our recommendations, what's the point of us doing? this scrutiny report, and I think it should be represented to the executive to actually to ask them, will they accept the contents of the report?
That's what I'm not sure if we can do that, Dave. But that was one of the reasons I wanted it to come to OSB.
I think, Chair, if I may, I think what the executive did on the day, they made it clear that they were noting the recommendations. So they noted the recommendations. There were 19 recommendations, out of which 4 of those were accepted. But the others, they noted. That was part of their decision.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eunice.
Right.
Can I just say that there were 19 recommendations and only 4 were accepted. That's all I really want to say. That it's a pity we can't send this back to them and ask them to talk about it and think about it a bit more. As for Councillor Shaw, I'm sure he can handle any criticism that comes his way, and he doesn't need another councillor to back him up on that. Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just come in, Terry. Yeah, I accept that. And I fall out with Tom Shaw on a regular basis, but I will take that up with the leader of the council about accepting the recommendations.
It is easy to do, isn't it, Dave?
Alec, can I just say something, please?
Quickly then, Diane.
It's just to say that Finish Group, a hell of a lot of hard work was put into that, getting evidence, listening, and things that we thought were right turned out to be wrong. And for the people that came and talked to us on the reasons for pollution, etc., was fantastic. Eunice and Terry put a tremendous report together, and I feel that a lot of people that possibly are condemning it haven't actually read it page to page.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say, but thank you, Dave, for some of your comments.
Yeah, thanks, Diane. I'm not prepared to let all that hard work that we've done over many months to be wasted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wynne, you wanted to make a comment?
If I may, I'm very grateful that Dave Taylor's prepared to take this up and follow it through a bit more. As a relatively new councillor and working on scrutiny board and so on, I have to say that I've landed up feeling rather disappointed that no matter what the work that is done by a scrutiny board, it is often landing up being paid lip service when it goes up the line. And I find that very disappointing as a new councillor. That's all, Chair.
Thank you. Right.
Can I just say something else? I'm not quite sure what these task and finish groups are supposed to do, because it just to me seems that I've been on 2 now and both of them have been virtually ignored. And I'm just wondering why they're actually there. There just seems to be a branch to hang something on to stop you discussing it properly elsewhere. Perhaps somebody can explain to me just what they're supposed to do, these task and finishes.
That's for another day, Terry.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Nicola's having a go.
Do you want to say something, Nicola?
Yeah, tell him to shut up.
Absolutely not, Councillor Keynes. I think it's a good challenge, because actually the scrutiny task and finish groups, well, you'll know with my previous hat on when I was the Service Director for Policy, Community Engagement, they're set up for a really important reason around policy development, where there is an issue, a social policy issue or a service issue that needs to be looked at, getting a load of different councillors together, lots of opinion, taking soundings from subject matter experts and coming to review as to a sensible way forward and presenting that to the executive. That is their purpose. and that is exactly what the task and finish groups that I have been involved with over the years have done. So
agree, they do have huge value, but they're not being looked at and taken into account properly. Yes, they're good because they give councillors from all political parties a chance to air their views. But I don't think, at the end of the day, they're actually accepted properly and looked at properly. That's my only criticism of it.
Thank you, Terry. Right then, everybody. We'll take that. It's finished. Close the meeting.
Good night.
Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Good night.
good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Terry. Good.
Cheers, bye.
Good night, everyone.
Don't be fooled by thinking it's the Waltons you're listening to.